Now let us do the same for physics. Okay, let us do the same analysis for physics. Okay. Again, 120 questions are there. The principal topic of questions, the most frequent one is kinematics, including the laws of motion. Okay, kinematics and laws of motion. And there have been questions on angular momentum. Okay, angular momentum. So I've included them here. So there are around 22 questions. So roughly 3 questions per chapter per paper on either kinematics, like motion in one dimension, motion in two dimension, projectile motion, circular motion, uniform circular motion, vertical circular motion, and of course problems on laws of motion, including motion curves like acceleration velocity diagram or acceleration time diagram will be given, and something else will be asked, like whether the body changes its direction, how much time does it take to do that, and all that stuff. Okay, so we'll also focus more on kinematics first, and then we'll go to laws of motion. Kinematics is basically the study of motion without specifying the force or the cause of the motion. Okay, but in laws of motion we do specify that, we call it kinetics. Okay, then of course the second one is electrostatics. In NCERT there are 2 different chapters under the unit electrostatics. First one is electric charge and electric field, and the second one is electric potential and capacitance. So that is also an equally important topic, electrostatics. Then there have been questions from current electricity. Okay, there have been questions on current electricity. Now when we think of current electricity, and if we go by the NCERT curriculum or pattern, then we will have drift velocity, relaxation time, conductivity, the meaning of potential difference, EMF, combination of cells, combinations of resistances, and all that stuff. But what they do is, because Kirchhoff's laws form a part of current electricity in our syllabus, they will bring capacitor with resistance, and they will ask you to tell how much time will it take for a capacitance to charge to say a particular value of voltage. Okay, so there we will require differential equation. We should know how a capacitor responds to externally applied voltage. Okay, for resistors we already know, but then again they will include some combination of resistors they'll give you, which will either not be in series or not in parallel strictly. Then you have to imagine the flow of currents and arrive at the right conclusion. Okay, arrive at the right conclusion. I think there was one problem on this in finding the net resistance in IISER Aptitude test 2023 if you have gone through the paper. Okay, so I'll also include those questions in current electricity, because the source is not alternating, the source is a DC source. Okay, then good news that there have been questions on units and dimensions, which is a very easy topic. Okay, the questions could either be on significant figures, it could also be on errors in calculating or error propagation, say from one quantity to other quantity. Say you measure the major and minor axes of an ellipse, what will be the error in its area? That then they will change the fundamental quantities from length, mass, time to something else, let's say force, velocity, time, and they'll ask you to compute the say dimensions of moment of inertia in terms of that kind of questions. Or they will also give you the fundamental constants. Okay, say Planck's constant, speed of light, mass of electron, charge of an electron, and then they will ask you something else based on that, permittivity, permeability, that stuff. Okay, so good news is that's an easy topic, units and dimensions, but there have been around 6 questions, so roughly 1 question per year on units and dimensions. Okay, fine. Let's now go to the other topics. Okay, let's now go to the other topics. Now these are, I would say, mid-weightage topics: dual nature of radiation and matter, gravitation. Now if you want to include gravitation in mechanics, you can do that, but as a separate topic which requires you to know the law of gravitation, the concepts of gravitational potential, gravitational field, variation of G with latitude, longitude, altitude, well, how acceleration changes if we go deeper in the, say, particle physics, and all that stuff. Okay, so these are, I would say, mid-weightage topics. Okay, let's now go to the other topics. inside the Earth's surface, all that stuff. Then we also have Kepler's laws of planetary motion. Time, the square of the time period varies with cube of the semi-major axis. How the graphs are there. So many possibilities are there. Escape velocity is there. Critical velocity is there. Total energy of satellite is there. Total kinetic and potential energy. Why it is negative. Weightlessness condition is there. Everything. That's on gravitation. Okay. Then there are questions on nuclei, and I often like to include nuclei with atoms. Well, I treat them as a single chapter because there isn't much new that we learn in nuclei except for some formulae. We know nuclei form the central part of atoms. Okay, so when we solve the MCQs, we'll mix the MCQs of atoms and nuclei. Okay, in dual nature, photoelectric effect is there. Mostly the questions will be on photoelectric effect, but it'll also be on the de Broglie wavelength and some other formulas, like kinetic energy of electron and electron volts. Alright? Okay. Then we have got ray optics, lenses, microscopes, mirrors, thin lens approximation, all that stuff, lens formula, lens maker's equation, ray optics is there. So there will be question on ray optics according to me. They may combine Snell's law with let's say mirrors, something like that. Then semiconductors, rectification is there, PN junction diode is there, and the VI characteristic of semiconductor, then the forward resistance of diode. Then we have got band gaps, which we study in Bohr model, the discrete energy levels, why discrete energy levels which are identical for all the atoms, when the atoms come in a crystal, why do those levels get modified? Those are the basic questions that we answered in the theory part of semiconductors, right? Then we have thermodynamics, the study of heat, first law, second law, zeroth law. Then we have got Myers relation there. Then we have got cycles, Carnot cycle is there, efficiency. Then we have got various processes there, irreversible processes, reversible processes, the significance of second law, Kelvin-Planck statement, Clausius statement, coefficient of performance, everything in thermodynamics. Okay. Then electromagnetic induction and AC circuits, there have been 4 questions, but I'm expecting one question either on AC circuit or on electromagnetic induction, so Faraday's laws. Got it? Then kinetic theory of gases, this is also an easy topic, you should definitely focus it. If you haven't prepared it, please go and read kinetic theory of gases. So in kinetic theory, the only energy that exists is kinetic energy, no potential energy, because we assume that the intermolecular or interatomic forces are absent. Okay. Then magnetic fields due to electric current and magnetism, that is also a very important topic, a crucial topic. And again, as I said, even though the question may not be directly on magnetic fields, in some other cases, let's say in atoms, okay, they'll ask you to calculate the magnetic field created by the moment, magnetic moment of electron which is circulating. They may also ask you to calculate that. Okay, so the formula that we study in magnetic fields, let's say Ampere's circuit law or Biot-Savart's law, they will ask you in some way or the other. Okay. Then mechanical properties of fluids are there. We have got fluid pressure, fluid density, Archimedes principle, Stokes law, Newton's law of viscosity, surface tension. Okay, all that stuff. We will also solve problems on mechanical properties of fluids. Oscillations are there, simple harmonic motion, angular harmonic motion, and how everything approximates to that second order differential equation d2x by dt squared plus omega squared x equal to 0. And then we have got wave motion also, which includes Doppler effect. Doppler effect is a popular topic in IISER Aptitude test. I have seen at least 2 questions on Doppler effect of sound. Okay. Okay. Then we have thermal properties of matter, electromagnetic waves, wave optics, and mechanical properties of solids. There have been only one question on mechanical properties of solids, but you should know the basics. You should know Hooke's law. You should know the types of stresses and strains. You should know the difference between elastic region and plastic region in that stress strain curve, which materials have larger elastic region, its significance, which materials have larger plastic region, its significance. There also is a hysteresis loop in stress strain diagram, if you are aware of that. Okay? So this is the analysis of IISER papers, physics. Again, as I said for maths, we will focus more on the topics on the first slide of physics and on the second slide, but we will also consider that other topics are there and will also solve problems on thermal properties of matter and other things. Okay, see, for example, in thermal properties we study that materials expand on heating. Okay, but if we prevent that expansion by fitting that rod in between two rigid supports, then stress will develop. So then that problem becomes a problem on mechanical properties of solids. So, but you cannot directly solve it by just knowing the mechanical properties of solids, because you need to find by how much amount the substance is going to expand. Alpha delta T, that will be the strain. If you multiply it by the length, then it will give you the net change in length, or what we call delta L. Based on that, we can calculate the stress or the force using Hooke's law, Young pulse. Okay. All right. So that's the analysis of physics papers. The most dominant topics are, of course, electrostatics and mechanics, and current electricity to some extent. Got it? Acha. Now, what can we expect in the 2024 version of the paper? I think there will be more mixed concepts questions, but there's nothing new here. These problems have been there. But what I find is, because the number of test takers is increasing in every year, year by year, so I expect a slightly higher level MCQs in 2024 compared to the previous versions, both in mathematics and physics. Okay, because of that course of IIT Madras and of course IISc, and the fact that the IISERs will not be admitting you through JEE Advanced or through KVPY, it will only be IISER Aptitude test. The number of test takers will increase, and therefore, according to me, the difficulty level of the questions will also be more. But I mean, if you are prepared for this, and then if the question paper comes easier, turns out to be easier, then that's a boon for you. You all will get extremely good scores.